What if something you wrote, a song, a poem, or even a rap verse, could be used to decide whether you live or die? That's not a hypothetical question. It's exactly what's at the center of a major legal battle in the United States right now, and it's pulling some of the biggest names in hip-hop into the conversation. Several well-known artists, including Fat Joe, Killer Mike, T.I., Young Thug, and N.O.R.E., are now supporting an urgent legal effort to stop the execution of a Texas death row inmate. The man at the center of this case is James Broadnax. Back in 2009, he was convicted of capital murder in connection with a deadly shooting and robbery that took place in 2008 in Garland, Texas. After his conviction, the court had to decide his punishment, life in prison or the death penalty. But during that sentencing phase, something unusual happened. Prosecutors introduced around 40 pages of handwritten rap lyrics that Broadnax had written. These lyrics were presented to the jury as evidence, with the argument that they reflected violent tendencies and a dangerous mindset. And ultimately, the jury chose the death penalty. Now, years later, Broadnax's legal team is arguing that those lyrics should never have been used in the first place. They say it violated his constitutional rights, especially his right to free speech and artistic expression. They've taken their case all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States, asking for an emergency intervention to stop his scheduled execution and review whether his sentencing was unfairly influenced. And this is where the hip-hop community steps in. Artists like Fat Joe and others aren't just supporting Broadnax as an individual, they're raising a much bigger issue. They argue that rap lyrics are art, they're storytelling. They're often exaggerated, fictional, and rooted in creativity, not literal confessions of real-life crimes. Fat Joe, speaking about the case, made a powerful comparison. He said rap should be treated like movies or novels, forms of expression where people create characters and scenarios that don't reflect their actual lives. Think about it. Actors play criminals in films all the time. Authors write about violence, crime, and dark themes. But no one assumes those stories are real or uses them as evidence in court. So why should rap be any different? That question is really at the heart of this growing legal debate. Supporters of Broadnax argue that using rap lyrics in court can be misleading. Lyrics often rely on metaphor, exaggeration, and cultural context. Taking them literally, they say, risks misunderstanding the art form entirely. On the other hand, some argue that lyrics can sometimes reflect real-life actions or intentions, and that in certain cases, they might be relevant. But critics push back, saying that this practice can open the door to bias and unfair assumptions. There's also a deeper concern being raised, one that goes beyond just this case. Civil rights advocates have pointed out that rap lyrics are disproportionately used in cases involving Black defendants. They argue that this raises serious questions about fairness, stereotypes, and how the justice system interprets cultural expression. So this isn't just about one man anymore. It's really about where the legal system draws the line between art and evidence. It's about whether creative expression can actually be weaponized in a courtroom. And it's about just how far the justice system should go when deciding someone's fate, especially in cases that involve the death penalty. Right now, the clock is ticking. Broadnax's execution is scheduled for April 13th. Unless the Supreme Court steps in to review the case or grant a delay, that sentence could be carried out. If the court does take up the case, the decision could have a lasting impact, not just for Broadnax, but for future cases that involve music, art, and free speech. This could set a precedent for whether rap lyrics, and maybe even other forms of creative expression, can continue to be used in criminal trials, especially when we're talking about severe punishments like the death penalty. And that's why so many voices are speaking up right now. Because, at its core, this case really forces us to ask a tough question. Should art ever be treated as evidence of a crime? Or does doing that cross a line that threatens freedom of expression? This is honestly one of those stories where law, culture, and personal rights all collide, and the outcome could shape how courts handle cases like this for years to come. As this situation continues to develop, one thing is for sure: people on all sides are watching closely. And now, I want to hear from you. Do you think rap lyrics should be allowed as evidence in court? Or do you believe that crosses a line when it comes to artistic freedom? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's have a real conversation about this. If you found this video insightful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into important stories like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.